Okay, so welcome to Online Travel Talks. I'd love to introduce Johnny Gardsater, and I really hope I've said that correctly. It's quite a Swedish surname, I think, isn't it there, Johnny?
It is, definitely.
Yes, excellent. So Johnny Gardsater is OTT's Nordics website manager, and he's looking after all of our companies in the Nordics market. And Johnny, it's great to have you on the Online Travel Talks and hear about how Nordics is opening up for tourism once again, and also just to hear a bit more about your background and OTT generally and how you're managing there.
Thank you. So if I take it from there, starting with my background, of course, it's I've been working in the travel industry for quite some time, starting in the tour operator and selling mostly the US, and then continuing on with various representation companies. And for Scandinavia, that's really nothing unique, because a lot of big companies some time back didn't employ people in the Nordics, because if you want to make some changes, it was very difficult to change personnel or actually get rid of personnel if you needed to do some sudden changes. So it was very normal to have a representative company doing that for them. So we started with online airlines, which is not normally something that airlines do, but we had several online airlines with their staff, including airport staff. So it was quite a big operation. And then I joined Aviarep sometimes back. And then after that, I decided to start my own company together with Paul Stanley, who is an English gentleman. And that was almost 10 years ago now. So it's nothing new. But we continued to do representation of airlines and destinations, and of course now also training. And the training part is actually nothing that is new to us. We have some existing clients that have training modules in the past, but I always had a lot of opinions on how they should do it and how they could be better suited, actually better done to suit the Scandinavian market. And I think when I was introduced to OTT, we found that this was pretty much what I was looking for, something a little bit more user-friendly than what I have seen in the past.
That's very good.
Yeah, and then also moving on to the market. The Scandinavian market is actually a perfect market for anybody who is a destination or a product, because it is a market where it's not big enough for many companies to have their own representation firm or even their own staff, but it's big enough not to be neglected, because you still want, the Scandinavian travelers. Because there is always a choice. Do a destination go for volume, meaning a lot of people who spend a very little amount of money, or should they look at a destination or an area like the Scandinavian, where they don't get a lot of people coming, but every person who comes spend much more than the average person. So, and I think that we all agree that that is the way to go forward for most destination. It's not the volume that counts. It's better to have a few people spending a little bit more because the wear and tear of hotels and the area where they are going, it's actually less. So it leaves less of a footprint on the destination as well. So that's why it's very easy to go into the Nordic market that way. And also we are used to talking to people from other countries. We are used to adapting to whatever customs they have. And most of us speak very good English. When I say most, it's not because there are some who doesn't speak English, that's not true, but some are maybe not comfortable speaking English, but they understand it 100%. since we have in the region that we have is Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland. You have 4 languages, 4 currencies, and we do get along because the similarities are actually more than the differences. There are differences. We make fun of each other, of course, in a joking way, but it's still the similarities are so many.
Very good. Well, I know that the Nordics market has been quite popular as a request from destinations and companies interested in the Nordics people to travel to their countries. And so, you know, and I know that our travel professionals in booking holidays to Nordics want to know how well it's opening up. So we've sort of got 2 sides to sort of talk about, really, about where the Nordics travelers like to travel to, and what if you've seen any trends, or if there's sort of differences, you know, what's their mindset, if you like, in going. Are they looking at fresh destinations? Are they going to old favorites? You know, what do you predict is really what's going to happen going into next year, particularly? And then, of course, you know, how the Nordics region itself is opening up to welcome visitors. So it's kind of 2 sides. I'll leave you with that.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to start with how the Nordic region is opening up to visitors. And that is during the pandemic, each country, of course, with the 4 different currencies and the 4 different languages, of course, we handled the pandemic in 4 different ways as well. And me being Swedish, I can talk about Sweden first, because Sweden never actually closed. So I could not travel anywhere, or my family could not travel. So we did like most people did in the Nordic area. We explored our own country. And by doing that, of course, we have a lot of space. So it's hiking. Hiking or bicycling is very popular. But then only to notice that every second person we met in the hiking trails were from Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, because Sweden never really closed the borders. So there were a lot of people that felt safe, you know, because of distancing, that they could travel to Sweden and explore the nature because there is nobody there. So it was easy to feel safe without wearing a mask. And then, of course, when they go into the city or they traveled in public transportation, they had the masks on. But then in the countryside, where there is absolutely nothing apart from their own family and all the things that you can experience, then of course they wear the mask. Other regions, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, they did it a little bit different. So you could not easily get into those countries. Even though they have a lot of space too. Denmark a little bit less space compared to Sweden, Norway, and Finland. But still, they decided to keep the borders closed and handle the pandemic in a slightly different way. But then when it comes to travel, that's another story. All the 4 countries are regions where people are used to travel. And when we're saying used to travel, is that they actually take a huge portion of their income, or actually disposable income, and put it aside for travel. And then if you look at statistics, in the past, it was 1 or 2 short hauls, meaning within the Nordics or Europe, and then 1 or 2 long haul trips every year. So it's a lot of trips, and we have long vacations. And we kind of joke about it as well, because every time you employ somebody, it's not, we are not talking salaries anymore. We are talking extra vacation days. And of course, we start at 5 weeks vacation every year, plus all the holidays. So there's a base, like, are you ever going to be in the office? But that's where they value their free time so much, and they still have money put aside to make decent trips, and they travel abroad. And then, of course, within our countries, prices are very high. So any country that we travel to, we get good value for the money that we spend. So that's a little bit of a combination. And then looking at what opened up for us. Of course, we have Spain as a favorite destination, and it has been open for quite some time. So of course we traveled there, and during the summer we even had charters, and they were fully booked to the last seat.
Yeah.
And then of course Greece started to open up a little bit, sometimes successfully and sometimes with a little bit of opening and closing. Even though that was not comfortable for everybody, they still took a chance and they traveled because they really, really wanted to do something that they're used to doing. And then, of course, there was some alternatives for long haul travel as well. The US was unfortunately closed, but another favorite destination of ours is Thailand. And so they traveled to Thailand. And then you probably say, oh, no, Thailand was closed.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say.
In a way it was, but
Right.
they came up with sandbox travel. And sandbox travel pretty much means that you go into one destination and you stay there.
Oh, like Koh Samui, I think. Was it Koh Samui that you just going to go onto just one island? That idea.
Yeah, that's right. So they took the flight, they went into one destinations and they stayed there. And that was, I believe, a successful program for them, and it worked. And also a reason why people book travel is because we had a pretty good summer. So, but nobody really wants to take a chance because our prime vacation time is between mid-June to mid-August. So it's quite a long time. And they want to enjoy the sunshine. And there's not really a guarantee that we will get sunshine during that period either.
Yeah.
But then, of course, moving into the fall now and the winter season, people are looking towards warm destinations or even ski and more active holiday destinations as well. So that's what we're seeing. And the traditional destinations, we will still travel to those. But looking back in history, we have traveled everywhere for a long time. So there will always be people who are looking for something new. And, destinations like Croatia, where a few years ago, nobody went there. I think that we are not the only ones in Europe going to Croatia now, but that's one of the ones that we haven't explored previously, but now it's just exploding from our area.
Wow.
But otherwise, it's the traditional destinations that we like to explore. Within the Nordic region, of course, it's the capital of Stockholm and Copenhagen, Oslo, and Helsinki. That is the main attractions. Outside, we are looking at London, Paris, Rome. It's those destinations that really creates volume, gets volumes from here.
Yeah.
But also looking at long haul destination, the US in a normal year, they get 1.5 million people out of the Nordics for tourism purposes.
Wow, that is a lot.
And Thailand gets about 1 million. But then, of course, there are many other destinations that gets big numbers as well.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit about creating an interest, and people will explore it. And it's also a matter of getting some Scandinavians to travel, and then of course they will post it on their social media, and automatically a personal recommendation will actually make people travel to that destination as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it was good to hear you saying that the Nordics people generally really prioritize holidays, and they tend to save up. I think the economy is doing quite well in the region too, isn't it?
It is, because it's sad to say, but it's the money that we were supposed to be spending on travel has now been spent domestically. Right. And since we're talking about all these trips, 2 long haul and maybe 2 short haul every year, that is a lot of money that now has been spent locally. And of course, nobody traveled, so food and also investments in housing has changed a lot, because during the pandemic, people wanted to buy bigger space. So they might still keep their flat in the city, or they buy a bigger flat, or they buy a house in addition to their flat. So of course, the prices of housing is driving the economy up as well.
Yes.
So it has been really, really good. And unemployment, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, is high, but the government support worked really well for most people. Even talking about myself from the travel industry, the government supported us, and we just have to be honest and say, at the moment nobody's traveling, we have no income, and then they will support our organization in the meantime. Not anymore, because the last date was the 30th of September, like for many other regions as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I think that's been crucial support pretty much around the world, not everywhere, sadly, but many nations have managed to be able to support their economies. But yeah, I mean, that's fantastic news to hear that the Nordics is not just opening up for tourism, more so for everyone to come and visit, but also that the Nordics travellers, the intrepid travellers, can get going and explore sort of new parts of the world as well. So really, really great to hear. Anything else to add there before we close?
Yes, sometimes I just wish that other people could see our news as well, because every time you see from around the world, when they open up a little bit, there's a little bit of partying going on. And you have seen in the past Sweden, Norway, and Denmark opening up fully. The borders between our countries are opening up as well. So you have people with relatives across the borders really celebrating and sending messages across and showing how happy they are that that everything is going so well, and the vaccination rate is really high.
Good.
So it's just the youngest part of the population left. But they are not considered to be at danger, but still they will do it, and there hasn't been a huge resistance in taking any vaccines either. So we are just waiting for Finland to open up as well, but there's a little bit of water in between Sweden and Finland, so I hope they will open up. I don't know what they're waiting for, and I don't think that the Finns even know that themselves, but their government is a little bit careful. And
I'm sure they'll get there eventually. Certainly all the countries around the world, from speaking to the different tourist boards, are kind of at different stages of development and risk profile or vaccine profile. But we'll all get there, certainly during the course of next year, I'm certain of it, because it's already, we're on that wave. So that's great.
And of course, looking at the whole market, it's slightly over 25 million people, and all I can think about is all these 25 million bags sitting in the hallway, just waiting to be used for a trip somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
They're already packed.
Absolutely, very much so. Where are you looking forward to going to, Johnny, next year?
It's actually, I do not know, because looking at what I follow is, of course, all the airlines are starting up. And looking at, October, early November only, we see directly from Copenhagen to the US with SAS, several flights. The new airline, Norse, starting to fly out of Oslo to several destinations. It's Norwegian. Norwegian stopped to fly long haul. So they kind of created a new airline called Norse, which is it's the same word, but it's in Norwegian. So Norse means Norwegian, but it's in English. But it's two separate companies: one long haul, one short haul. And then of course Finnair starting up a lot of flights from Helsinki, but also from Stockholm. Just this week, they're opening up Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Thailand, two flights out of, not even their home country. So you can see there's a huge demand that the airlines are stepping in to try to get some market share of.
Yes, absolutely. And the nick of time too, because it's been pretty brutal to keep massive airplanes, serviced, grounded somewhere, and going. and they've all been real troopers trying to sort of keep things moving.
Yeah, and the one
yeah.
I mentioned was only long haul.
Yeah.
If that is long haul, you can imagine how many short haul there are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know. The logistics just blows my mind on how planes are never supposed to be grounded or stopped for very long. They're supposed to be kept going, aren't they? So
yeah,
just how you then manage that. In fact, that's probably a future online travel talks that I will do, to sort of find out exactly what airlines do in these sorts of emergency situations. And I reckon once we've talked about that, they'll hope they never have to talk about it again.
yeah, that's right.
That's for sure. Well, it's been absolutely fascinating hearing all about the Nordics region, and it's great to have you on board as well, working with OTT Nordics. Johnny, giving our clients lots of advice and tips for their Nordics courses, and I hope that all the Nordics people enjoy learning about the courses that we have there as well. And for the UK travel professionals, I hope you've learnt a little bit more about holidays to the Nordics region that you can recommend to your clients too. So thank you very much, Johnny, and wishing you a great rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.